Good morning. What comes to mind when you hear the word Genesis? An old story, a religious text, maybe a black and white picture of a garden, a snake, and an apple. What if I told you that Genesis isn't just about how the world asterisk was asterisk, but about how your world asterisk is asterisk? That within its first few pages lies a radical blueprint for building anything of lasting meaning: a career, a relationship, a legacy, a life. Today, we're not debating history or science. We're mining Genesis for its motivational fuel. Because this isn't just a story of beginnings. It's the story of the beginnings that changed the world, and it can change yours. It answers the three fundamental questions every creator, innovator, and builder asks. First, where does my power come from? Second, what is my deepest problem? And third, how do I begin again? Let's start with the blueprint. First, the power of spoken identity. Genesis chapter 1 is a masterpiece of declaration. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Over and over, he speaks, and it is. This isn't a magic trick. It's a principle. Your world begins with your word. Before the action, before the manifestation, comes the declaration. Chaos becomes order through intention made audible. So what's the motivational takeaway? Stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect to declare your intent. The entrepreneur says, "Let there be a solution," and builds it. The artist says, "Let there be beauty," and creates it. The parent says, "Let there be love in this home," and cultivates it. Your first creative act is to name your vision. Speak the future you intend to build. That is how you summon your personal let there be. Second, the gift of sacred rest. After this burst of creation, Genesis does something shocking. It stops. It hallows a day of rest, not as an afterthought, but as the crown of creation. Why? Because your worth is not in your output. Your humanity is not your productivity. The blueprint says you are designed not just to create, but to complete, and then to rest in the goodness of what you've made. We live in a culture of infinite hustle, where burnout is a badge of honor. Genesis says the opposite. The sacred pause is where meaning is absorbed. It's in the rest that you remember you are more than your work. You are a human asterisk being asterisk, not a human asterisk doing asterisk. You have to schedule your rest like you schedule your most important meeting. It's not a weakness. It's the rhythm wired into the universe. Third, the courage of new beginnings. We all know the story takes a turn. The garden, the choice, the fracture. It's often called the fall. But let's reframe it. This is the story of the first mistake. And what's the immediate human response? Shame, hiding. I was afraid because I was naked and I hid. That instinct to hide our flaws, bury our failures, to pretend we've got it all together, that is the single greatest killer of potential. It isolates us. But watch what happens next. God doesn't destroy. He asterisk clothes them asterisk. In the face of their failure, he provides for a new beginning outside the garden. The message here is powerful. Your failure is not your final chapter. It is the necessary ground for your next beginning. The rest of Genesis is a parade of this truth. Noah begins again after the flood. Abraham begins again in a new land. Jacob begins again after betrayal. Joseph begins again in a prison cell. Your past, your failure, your broken project, your ruined planet is not the end of your story. The Genesis principle is this. You are always one courageous choice away from a new beginning. So, let's bring this home. How do you apply this ancient operating system? First, speak your let there be. Today, what is the one thing you need to declare into existence? Not complain about. Declare. Let there be order in my finances. Let there be healing in this relationship. Let there be a first step on that project. Write it down. Say it out loud. That is you, partnering with the creative energy of the universe. Second, reclaim your rest. This week, I challenge you to one period of sacred, unproductive rest. No screens, no agendas, just be. And in that space, ask yourself, who am I when I am not producing? This helps you reclaim your inherent worth. Third, reframe your fall. What is the thing you're hiding from? The failure you're letting define you. Today, see it not as a tombstone, but as fertile ground. It is your wilderness, your prison cell. You're outside the garden. And it is precisely where your story of resilience and new beginnings is waiting to be written. What is the very next step you can take from that place? Genesis is not a book about how things were perfect once. It's a book about how things can begin, again and again and again. It tells us that in the beginning, there was a voice in the chaos. And that voice is still available to you. You have the power to speak light into your personal darkness. You have the permission to rest, not as a failure, but as a sacred act. And you have the promise that no ending is ever truly the end. It is only the ground for a new Genesis. The world didn't just begin once. It begins every time a person decides to create, to rest, and to begin again. So, go out there. And today, start your world. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more.